the Arlington Democrats. Great to see such a strong showing here in the middle of the year as we gear up for an exciting primary in June, and of course our school board caucus this month. I'm Jill Cayazzo, chair of the Arlington Democrats. Always a pleasure to be with you. Welcome to everybody. For those of you who are new, you will find that Arlington Democrats is very much action oriented. We try to always be out there in the community, working for democratic values, working for democratic candidates. And the same is true at our monthly meetings. And so we like to start our monthly meetings off with a bang and with some sort of action. So what I ask folks to do, if you could please take out your phone or go to your browser and head on over to Facebook. There you will find on the Arlington Democrats Facebook page at Arlington Dems, a post that looks an awful lot like what is on your screen right now. This is a post promoting the upcoming school board endorsement caucus. We are very excited to be running our caucus this year, mostly online with some in-person voting options. It will be running from May 17th to May 23rd. We have a website that's been built out that explains lots about the caucus. It's arlingtondemocrats.org/SB caucus, but we could use your help with the promotion of the caucus. We're looking to promote it in a number of different ways to make sure the community is aware that it's happening. And you can help us with that by sharing or liking this post into your network. Sharing is best, but we'll take a like. And what that does is it will help folks in your network to understand that there's this caucus, and perhaps I'd like to go vote and learn more about it at arlingtondemocrats.org/SB caucus. If you have a preferred candidate in this race, I of course am neutral, but you don't have to be. If you have a preferred candidate, always nice to toss at the top of your shared post, hey, I'm voting for so-and-so. Be sure to mark your calendars and vote in the school board caucus, or a neutral comment also would be great. But if you could please do that, we'd greatly appreciate the help in getting the word out. And you'll be learning a little bit more about the caucus later in the meeting, as well as other ways that you can help to support it and to help market it. But I greatly appreciate the help with the sharing and the liking of this post. And hopefully I have explained this long enough that you've been able to take that action. I'm going to keep us moving in our agenda because we do have quite a packed one. We're going to go on to our voting items. We generally do have to take care of a little bit of business at these meetings before we talk about our volunteer opportunities and events, of which there are many. We just have a couple of voting items tonight. All of the information about these voting items was shared with our members, our voting members prior to this meeting. The first voting item is, as we often do, we have a number of appointments and elections to our steering committee as well as our precinct captain ranks. These are folks who have stepped up to say, yep, I want to really be a leader in my community and help to elect Democrats and promote progressive policies in a variety of different ways. If we have positions, as you will see here, coming in on our finance committee, our inclusion and equity committee. And also we're excited to be appointing representatives from each of our caucuses to the steering committee. For those of you who have been to prior meetings, you'll know that we recently made a change to our bylaws that would put for the first time a representative from each of our caucuses onto the steering committee. Very excited about that and really thrilled to be welcoming all of the caucus reps to the steering committee, along with the other members that you see here on the screen. In addition, we have two precinct captains joining us in Gunston and Park Lane. We're always excited to be filling out our ranks of precinct captains as well. So don't fear not, this is a long list, but there still are ways to get involved with the party in leadership positions. If you're at all interested in a particular area that you hear tonight, you need only reach out to us and we'd love to find a way to plug you in. But for the moment, what I am looking for is a motion to appoint and or elect these individuals to the steering committee and precinct captain ranks.
So moved.
I am so excited to share my vision.
I heard a motion and a second, and the tech team is on the spot with a poll. So if you could please vote, we'll see how it does.
Former Attorney General Mary Sue Terry.
And if you could be on mute, that would be helpful, or we will mute you. Thank you. And I think that looks like it passes, but if someone from the tech team could help me out here. Yes, that passes. So congrats to our newest steering committee members and precinct captains. We're excited to get you on board and appreciate your hard work to come. Moving right along to our next voting item. This is a resolution in support of collective bargaining for Arlington County and school board workers. You may not know, but the Democrat-controlled General Assembly passed legislation earlier this year that permits localities to engage in collective bargaining with their employees. So hooray for Democratic majority, able to push through important legislation in support of Virginia's workers. In order for that collective bargaining to become a reality in Arlington, the county board and school board needs to basically adopt ordinances that would govern the collective bargaining process. The resolution supports the creation and adoption of those ordinances that would permit collective bargaining, basically consistent with the breadth and scope of the limits of what was allowed by the General Assembly legislation. It would cover topics like collective bargaining for wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment. The resolution is strongly supported by labor representatives in Arlington. I'm also happy to say we worked with our local electeds on this resolution, and it did garner wide support within the steering committee. I am looking for a motion to adopt this resolution.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Great. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, the motion is on the table and properly seconded, and the tech team is on the spot with the poll. If you could please cast your vote, and we'll see how this one does. And I think this one, keep me honest, tech team, I think this one passes as well. Yes, overwhelmingly passes. So thank you very much. That one passes. We'll be sure to get that up on our website. And I want to do a shout out to our Labor Caucus, who I'm sure we'll be hearing about a little bit later, who put this forward. And as well, also a shout out to our Calls to Action chair for helping to get this into shape. If you, it's a great example of the caucuses at work, and appreciate the effort. All right, we're going to keep us moving right along to our next agenda item. Help me out here though, folks. We do have a candidate announcement, but we're rocketing through. And so I don't know if we actually have that candidate with us on the line yet. Maggie's saying no. Okay, so we'll skip this section of the agenda and we'll come on back when she arrives. We will be hearing from State Senator Jennifer McClellan as soon as she's able to join us. If you'd like to hear from other candidates, what we have here on the screen is information about our upcoming candidate debates and morning mugs. We had a number of them last month, which were super fun. I want to give a shout out to our membership chair, Izzy Taveras, for putting together several morning mugs with our candidates, which were terrific. We have a couple of additional events coming up. We have our county board morning mug, we have our county board candidate debate, and we also have a House of Delegates debate that's being organized by a couple of our outreach caucuses, the Business and Labor Caucuses and Disabilities Caucus. In addition, we're teaming with the Alexandria Dems for that event. Should be a fun time. And then we also have our county board candidate debate. So the days and times of these debates are on the screen. If you'd like to attend, they're all virtual. You can grab the Zoom links by simply going to arlingtondemocrats.org/calendar or to our Facebook page that you just were at, hopefully, and checking out the event section of that page. We've gotten a couple of questions in, which I think are great about, okay, you've got these events for local candidates, but I really want to learn about our statewide candidates as well. Are you planning events with them? The answer is no, but the answer is no, because it would not be reasonable to expect all of our statewide candidates to attend debates organized by the more than 100 local committees. So what we've decided to do instead is we're deferring to certain statewide organizations, such as the Virginia Committee of Chairs, of Democratic Chairs. They've held some debates. The Virginia Young Democrats have held some debates. There are other organizations that operate at a statewide level that have held some debates. And so what we've done for you is if you go to our candidate page, arlingtondemocrats.org/vote/candidates, we've included links to the videos to those debates. So if you'd like to see a debate amongst the statewide candidates for governor, lieutenant governor, or attorney general, just head to that website. We've compiled some links there for you. You can check them out. So we want to make sure you have that information, even though it did not make sense for us to organize those events. If you missed our previous events, for example, we've had both of our school board morning mug and candidate debate. If you'd like to check those out, you can, no problem. They're recorded. just head to our YouTube channel and you will be able to check out the videos of those debates or morning mugs as well. So hope to see you at our upcoming events. And please be sure to check out the videos for any of the past events that you missed so that you are well informed heading into our school board caucus as well as the primary. All right. Speaking of school board caucus, we want to make sure that everyone has all of the latest and greatest about that event. And I want to turn things over right now to our school board caucus director, Alex Zins, to take us through some of that. Alex, are you on the line?
I'm here. Hello. Hi, everyone. So this is the month. We are officially in May, if you can believe it. And that means that we are rapidly approaching our school board caucus. As Jill mentioned, we are offering mostly online balloting, as we expect a lot of you to take advantage of it, from May 17th to May 23rd. That's when the portal will be accessible. And so you'll be able to cast your ballot on a computer, on a phone, on your tablet, from home, on the go, at 2 a.m., however you feel like voting. So we hope everyone finds that fun and easy to do. Access to the portal and all the additional information about the caucus, including our candidates, is at the SB Caucus site on arlingtondemocrats.org. We are working on an instructional video showing you how to vote using the portal, and so that'll be coming out soon. So we will be publishing that, and it'll be a YouTube video to give you more information on exactly how the system will look when you go to vote. If you're interested in volunteering with the caucus to help us out, please email me at elections@arlingtondemocrats.org. We have a few different volunteering opportunities, one of which, Jill, you can go to the next slide. We are offering in-person voter assistance at multiple locations throughout the county. So we have we originally had 3 locations. Now we have added a 4th at Cafe Saison on Columbia Pike. With the times seen below, we are looking for folks who are interested in helping us staff those tables. Essentially, you'd be helping folks who may be having difficulties voting online or may not have access to devices or Wi-Fi. They can walk up and do it on our devices and our Wi-Fi. And so we are going to offer these opportunities. And especially if you've done voter reg before, if you've done poll greeting even, or even if you've been a poll worker, those skills are super transferable to this kind of tabling that we're doing. But even if you haven't, we're going to have a training session to teach you how exactly to help voters. So we're looking for folks to help out. Again, email me at elections@arlingtondemocrats.org. I'll put it in the chat as well, and we can set you up for a time that works for you. So that is my update. Thank you all for sharing the post on Facebook for our social media call to action. I truly appreciate it. And by this time next month, we'll have our indoor C. So looking forward to seeing you all voting at home. And if you have to come out to our in-person, seeing you there.
Great. Thanks so much, Alex, and to the entire school board caucus team for pulling together this event. We've not done online voting in the past. It is necessitated by the continuing pandemic, which has made it very difficult to, well, frankly, impossible to get a large scale of location for us to do the voting. So I really appreciate the team pulling together and pulling this off. Encourage everybody to take advantage of the voting opportunity coming up in just a couple of weeks here. Moving right along, I want to also put in a plug for our Blue Victory Dinner and see if our finance chair is on the line to let us know all about this exciting event, or one of the Blue Victory Dinner co-chairs. Anybody want to take this one?
I don't see any of them on the line yet.
All right, well, we are rocketing through the agenda, so I will just field it. And to let you know that the time is now, folks, to buy your tickets to our Blue Victory Dinner. It will be virtual this year. This is another event that is impacted by the ongoing pandemic situation, but never fear, Arlington Democrats are making it work. we are so excited that we are going to be joined by a number of really awesome speakers. You see two of them on the screen right there. This is the first time that we've actually been able to secure Representative Abigail Spanberger at one of our events. We've worked so hard to get her elected, and we're just so excited to see all the great work that she's doing in Congress. And so really delighted to be able to finally welcome her to an Arlington Democrats event. So we've gone to Richmond a lot. She's coming here, at least virtually. Really looking forward to that on May 15th, starting at 7 o'clock, which is when our virtual Blue Victory dinner will begin. We're also excited that she's going to be introduced by our own Representative Don Beyer, who will also provide some remarks, which is sort of new news. So we're always excited to see Representative Beyer, so that'll be a great time. And in addition, we're welcoming Brady President Chris Brown. As always, we remain focused on gun safety reform, and she will be providing remarks as well. Plus, as if that weren't enough, we will be doing, as usual, our annual volunteer awards. You see there on the screen the various award categories that we have. Now is your opportunity. If you have been wowed by the dedication, the creativity, the go-get-itness of a particular volunteer within Arlington Democrats, you should nominate them for an award. There's a lot of folks to choose from, so it is a hard choice, but we absolutely want you to make that hard choice. Get your nominations in. The deadline is this Friday. The website for voting is arlingtondemocrats.org/BVD-vote. So you could get your nominations in there just as soon as you actually buy your ticket for the Arlington Democrats Blue Victory Dinner, which you can do at arlingtondemocrats.org/BVD. As you probably know, the funds used from the Blue Victory Dinner help to keep our organization going year round. It's how we are able to function outside of the general election season with all of the great outreach events and just our community service events, and just basically just keeping us going. It's through funds we raise at the Blue Victory Dinner. So in addition to having a great time, you will be helping the Arlington Democrats to remain the strong and vital organization that we are. So thank you in advance for your generosity, and I hope to see you at our virtual event on May 15th. arlingtondemocrats.org/BVD. Check it out. Okay. In fact, if you're feeling so inclined, if you're so excited about Representative Spanberger as I am, I was thinking that maybe we could do a second call to action. And if you still have your phone or your browser open at Facebook and you'd want to share this post into your network, that would be greatly appreciated. This post isn't pinned to our is not pinned to the top of our Facebook post, but it did post at 7:15. So it should be right below the pin post should be this one. And if you wouldn't mind sharing that into your network, helping to spread the word about the Blue Victory Dinner, that would be greatly appreciated as well. I promise you it will be a fun time, and your friends and family will want to check it out. So hit share or like, and with gratitude. Thank you so much. Okay, moving right along. Thank goodness, folks, we're at a section of the program where I'm certain I'm not going to talk, and we're going to turn things over to our excellent head of precinct operations, Carol Fontaine, to let us know what is happening in Arlington's 54 voting precincts.
Jill, you are welcome to speak anytime about precinct ops. You got your start in precinct ops, right?
True, that's true.
Right.
I've met my husband at Democratic precinct captain training, so
Right.
true story.
Yes, absolutely. Well, good evening, Arlington Democrats. As always, it's good to be with you all. Thank you to newcomers and everyone for joining in the battle to preserve our democracy. And happy Cinco de Mayo. And I think this is also AAPI month. So let's observe that as the caucuses, I think, are putting out or the AAPI caucus is looking for contributions to a recipe book. Next slide, please. So I'd like to start by thanking everyone who helped make the spring lit drop a success. Arlington Democrat volunteers are just awesome. Precinct operations took on this lit drop in support of the voter support team to help spread the word to our voters about voter registration and early voting and the June 8th Democratic primary. And then as an add-on, to share information, helpful information about our upcoming school board caucus, which Jill has referred to, and Alex. our wonderful volunteers. Did I say yet how wonderful Arlington Dems volunteers are? They took more than, get this, 400 walk routes and stuck large Post-it notes, also known as sticky notes, on over 22,500 doors. So thank you to our whole team, area chairs, precinct captains, the tech team, the comms team, the indefatigable Carol Burnett, and the 400 other volunteers who helped. Amazing job. Thank you all. Next slide, please. Please join me now in welcoming, whoa. Next slide, please. Please join me now in welcoming our two new precinct captains, Jackson Murphy for Gunston and Mary Saul Thormer for Park Lane. Congratulations to them and to us. We are very, very lucky to have them both. Next slide, please. Precinct captains are important. We have 127 precinct captain slots across our 54 precincts. And I like to say that precinct captains are the heart and soul of Arlington Democrats, but then I'm biased. We are all volunteers and we all put our heart and soul into our work. Next slide, please. So that said, the role of precinct captain has never been more important than it is today. Precinct captains are elected members of the Democratic Party. And what did Harry Truman say? Okay, say it with me. The most important job I ever had was being a precinct captain. Yeah, so we can all say that, right? Next slide, please. We count on precinct captains to be the face of the Democratic Party in their neighborhoods. And this is something I say all the time too. Arlington's job is to be the difference in keeping Virginia blue. We must get out every single last Democratic vote in Arlington to offset the other parts of the state. And that is true for us every year. And Arlington is unique in that role. And much of what I've just talked about, this work, a lot of it happens at the precinct level. Precinct captains are the key to reaching our voters where they live and encouraging them not only to vote for our candidates, but also to volunteer. And precinct captains do a whole lot more. So if you're interested in learning more, please contact me at precinctoperations@arlingtondemocrats.org. And now I'm going to turn it over to Richard Skinner, who along with Mark Fiumara is heading up our multi-unit building team. And he's going to talk to you about multi-unit buildings and building ambassadors. Richard.
All right, thank you, Carol. As you said, I'm Richard Skinner, and I am the Precinct Operations Vice Chair for multi-unit buildings. The majority of Arlington residents live in multi-unit buildings, apartment buildings, condominiums, and so on. And it's oftentimes challenging to reach these people because we usually cannot go directly to their doors. So instead, what we have is a team of volunteers who we call building ambassadors, who share information about voting with their neighbors, letting them know about upcoming events, helping to set up voter registration events, and so on. And can we move the slide? Yes, there we go. Thank you. Multi-unit building outreach is going to be especially important in 2021. The population in multi-unit buildings is always a little challenging. It tends to be younger. It tends to be transient. Oftentimes, these are people who did not live here last time we had a governor's race. Oftentimes, these are people who don't have deep roots in Virginia. So it's going to be really important this year to reach out to these people. To make sure they vote, because of course, this is the first election cycle after we've gotten rid of the orange man, and we're going to have to work on motivating people, even with that very obvious trigger. So we're going to have to work at getting out the residents of these multi-unit buildings. And of course, it's especially important this year because we have 3 statewide races. So the margin coming out of Arlington County could be decisive. So on Saturday at 4 p.m., we are holding a Zoom meeting to plot strategy for this fall. just drop me a line at mubs@arlingtondemocrats.org, and you can participate in this meeting. If you're interested in becoming a building ambassador, you can sign up at arlingtondemocrats.org, or you can just simply email me at mubs@arlingtondemocrats.org. Thank you very much.
And that's it for precinct ops. Thank you, Richard, and thank you, Jill and Maggie and everybody else.
Thanks, Carol and Richard. And being a building ambassador is a great way to get involved. If you do live in one of these high rises, condos or garden apartment buildings, you know, the work is pretty straightforward. We ask you to hang posters and distribute lit within the rules of your building. We provide the posters to print out and really make it as easy as possible. But what you provide is that access, which is so critical given the composition of the county. So if you can become a building ambassador, it is a great thing and not too much of a lift, and it's a great way to help out the Democratic Party. If you've got a little bit more time and you're willing to become a precinct captain, we could use you there as well. And that is really a wonderful way to get to know your neighbors. And as Carol said, be a voting member of the party. So thank you to Precinct Operations. We are going to keep moving along to our voter support team. Precinct Operations really focuses on a wide range of information providing to voters and volunteers within the precincts, and also really with an emphasis on making sure they know about our candidates. Voter support, as the name suggests, really makes sure that voters have the information that they need for success at the polls, that they can access the polls through voter registration, voter protection, and voter information in a wide variety of ways. I'm going to turn things over to our chair of voter support, Marcia Johnson, to let us know what is happening in voter support this month. Marcia?
Thanks, Jill. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Next slide, Jill. Thanks. So first of all, I thought I would just throw out some of the news because there's been a few nice developments for the June 8th primary in case y'all hadn't seen them. Just first of all, that our good Governor Northam has put in the budget to allow all state election offices to provide drop boxes like we had last election, which were great, to allow voters to cure their ballots. That is to say, if they have a problem, you know, if there's a mistake, that the registrar will give them a chance to fix it as opposed to tossing the ballot, and has also removed the witness requirement for the primary. So that's something to keep in mind if you're doing tabling for people. Not for the school board caucus, but later on when we get to tabling for voting, or we're doing some now, I should say. But anyway, if people are taking mail ballots, hopefully the instructions will be good, but there is no witness requirement for the primary voting. In-person early voting has already started. Most of you probably know this, on the 23rd, which is a Friday, and it is primarily at 2100 Clarendon, not 2200 like we had last year with the pandemic, but the usual traditional location in 2100. I believe they may be on the first floor. If not, you can go into 2100 and they will direct you. 8 to 5, generally, Monday through Friday, through Saturday, June 5th. Extra hours will be at 2100 and Walter Reed and Madison Community Centers only on Tuesday and Thursday, June 1st and 3rd. That is like the last week before the actual primary. So that Tuesday and Thursday, it's going to be in the afternoons until 2 to 7. Now, Clarendon, I should clarify there, sorry, will be open from 9, but Madison and Walter Reed, just the afternoons from 2 to 7. But Clarendon will also be open until 7, those 2 days. So, and also Saturdays. We have 2 Saturdays, May 29th, that's Memorial Day weekend, and also June 5th, the last Saturday before the primary. So from 9 to 5 at these 3 locations, 2100, Walter Reed, and Madison. So, and also, so we will have 9 ballot drop boxes. You can find those locations on the registrar's website. Just look for Arlington Department of Elections and you will, or county registrar, and you will find those. Look for vote by mail and ballot drop off. They have a really nice, everything's pretty nicely labeled right now. And they have the addresses and everything. So those are 24 hours. So you can drop a mail ballot in those boxes at any time for the primary. All right, next slide, please. Hablas español. So this is, I want to, before I get into just well, actually I'll do with voter registration, that's fine. So we are offering 3 different opportunities. And I will say right off the bat that this is the phenomenal work of Sandra Brody, who is our Vice Chair of Translation Services for Voter Support, as well as Brian Marroquin, who is our Vice Chair of Voter Information Outreach, and excuse me, as well as Paula Potts on voter registration. So these are in-person opportunities, all COVID safe, you know, with masks, and we have our supplies and things. We are going to be helping the school board caucus with in-person voting assistance. And these will be at 4 different locations. And we do need Spanish-speaking volunteers at Cafe Saison. You heard that mentioned already, Cafe Saison, on Tuesday, May 18th, and Saturday, May 22nd. So if you speak Spanish well enough to hold a conversation, then please go, and I put in short bit.lys here because I thought they would be easier to copy down. I guess these slides, I don't know, Jill, I don't even know, are these available to people?
Always. We always make the slides available on our website, arlingtondemocrats.org.
Thank you. I thought so. So anyway, you can click on those if you go and look them up. Anyway, Spanish-speaking volunteers at Cafe Saison, Tuesday, 18th May, Saturday, 22nd May. If you can, please do. And so voter registration, the first thing I want to say about voter registration, though, I have to give some applause to Brian Marroquin, who has really jumped into the voter information outreach thing and has set up a partnership with LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, and for voter registration tabling at Glebe Market. And they are, some of their members are coming and volunteering with us. So I would like to say Brian deserves a huge round of applause for that. And so that's one of the locations we will be doing for voter registration between now and our deadline of May 17th for the primary. And hopefully we'll be doing some in the fall as well. But right now, we do need some bilingual volunteers at a couple of pop-up locations. And that is one of them, I do believe. But you can go on and find those locations and sign up through May 17th. And we'll be back at it after that, once sometime later in the summer. Next slide, please, for rides to vaccination. This is another opportunity. So before I get into the opportunity, just wanted to say congratulations again to the rides team, Mary Byrne and Anne DeLeon, and all of their wonderful volunteers. They phone banked over 5,000 senior Arlingtonians, and we're offering help on getting vaccine appointments and a ride. And they have helped to contribute to 80% of Arlington seniors having 1 shot, and 80% of that 80% having 2 shots. So this was a wonderful sort of effort in the broader community that we got a lot of publicity on, and it was just really nice for the organization. And increasingly, they are providing rides to Spanish-speaking residents, young mothers, working families, and seniors. And again, if you speak Spanish and would like to help with, they're providing rides when people are requesting them still. They're not doing the phone banking anymore because they seem to have exhausted the list. But when people call, they are providing those rides. So again, there's a link that you can get off of these slides when they go up on the website. And I think that might be my last slide. Nope, one more. Sorry, on primary voting, they will also be providing rides to people who request them. I thought I had put up this information. This is where you contact them if you're Spanish speaking and want to help with that specifically, or you want to help with primary rides. Rides at arlingtondemocrats.org, pretty easy, rides at arlingtondemocrats.org. And we also have a phone number. That's it.
Thanks so much, Marcia, and to the full voter support team for all the great work this primary season and vaccination season. Really, really awesome work, and we really appreciate it. If you're interested in joining any of those great voter support teams, as mentioned, there's email addresses there, and we do make these slides available on our homepage, arlingtondemocrats.org, so you can download them, check it out at your leisure, and get engaged. I want to move us right along to our outreach update. And who am I handing this off to? Is it Vicki?
I'll take it. Thanks, Jill. Next slide, please. Farmers market. So we are looking for volunteers to come out and support, and we're also piloting a new leadership program. So if you are interested in joining the farmers markets team, let outreach know, and we will get you to come in. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good group, and if it piques your interest to join the leadership program, also let us know. We'd love to have you. Next slide, please. I'm going to throw this to Josh to talk about the work we're doing with Blue Families.
Thanks, Vicki. So Blue Families has continued to be very active. Can you go to the next slide? So I'm very excited to announce, we've been waiting for this for well over a year, but we're finally going to get back out there and knock some doors in one of our trademark family-friendly canvassing trips. We're going to go down to Fredericksburg, a mere 1 hour south of here, on Saturday, May 22nd, to knock doors for Delegate Josh Cole, who is one of our favorite delegates. We helped elect him back in 2019, and he's in a tough re-election race that we've got to win if we want to hold the House of Delegates for Democrats, so we can keep on doing all the great things we've been doing over the last 2 years. We still have a couple more postcards to write to register voters in Arlington who've been purged from the voting rolls, voters of color, who we want to make sure are able to vote in the June 8th primary, and of course in November. So I will put links on the screen to sign up for postcards. You have until May 10th to write them, but of course, if you get them out a couple days later, that's okay as well. And we also have this Blue Virginia Challenge, which is our new effort to get Arlington students involved in the 2021 election. We have a whole list of different activities you can participate in. If you check most of the boxes, we're going to have a fabulous prize at the end after the election. And then late breaking news, we are going to be having on August 28th an event, hopefully in-person event, with Challenging Racism, which is a nonprofit, an Arlington-based nonprofit. And we're gonna, it's gonna be sort of kid and parent oriented, sort of having some really hard conversations about race and equity issues in Arlington. So we'll get that out on our Facebook page, on the website, once we have a location and time nailed down. But I'll put the links in the chat, and hope to see you out there on the 22nd.
Thanks, Josh. I am super excited. Can't wait to get back into it. We have some exciting things happening on the labor side, business and disabilities, and I'm going to throw it to Keith to tell us about it.
Everybody, so as Jill mentioned earlier, we're having a House of Delegates debate coming this Monday, May 10th, 7 to 8:30. The first part of it's going to feature incumbent Alfonso Lopez and challenger Karishma Mehta of the 49th district. And then the second part of it is going to be Mark Levine and Elizabeth Bennett Parker of the 45th. And we're planning this jointly with the Disabilities Caucus, the Alexandria Dems, and the Alexandria Labor Caucus. So we're looking forward to it. And I think my colleagues are putting in the chat there how you can sign up. So please sign up and join us for it. Thanks.
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We've got some great questions lined up. We've been thinking about them. And then obviously welcome questions from the audience for this event. Next slide, please. AAPI Caucus. So this month is Heritage Month, is AAPI Heritage Month. Next slide, please. We are doing a lot of work on our Instagram account. So just a little pin for other caucuses. If you're interested in getting on social media and having an Instagram account, reach out to us at Outreach, and we'll work with you on that. So this month, what we're doing every month is highlighting AAPI owned businesses in Arlington. This week we have 2 coming up, the A1 Indian Grocery and my personal favorite, Thai Square. And so look out for those on our account. We're also working on a recipe book that everybody from the chapter is sharing, and we're hoping to share that with the entire Arlington Dems group by mid-May. And we're also, the AAPI caucus wants to also join in on a lot of the voter registration. So we're thinking, either this cycle or in the fall of doing some specific voter registration targeting at some of the grocery stores in the AAPI areas within Arlington. Next slide, please. Latino Caucus. So a lot of really exciting stuff. This is a picture of the amazing Sandra Brody, who's been doing a lot of work on the voter registration side along with Brian. We're out there at Mega Mart registering people who are coming by. Next slide, please. So a lot of our efforts right now, given that we're getting ready for the primaries, is focused on voter registration and information. At the same time, we're continuing the work on the county complete vaccination committee. At this point, we're helping a lot of people directly get appointments and partnering with the RIDES team, as Marcia mentioned, to help, especially, young Hispanic mothers who have children, the elderly, and people who generally kind of need help getting to their appointments. And so we've seen an upstick in the number of Spanish-speaking Arlingtonian residents who've been coming to get vaccinated, and we are continuing to work with the CVC on helping with that hesitancy that we're getting on the side of some of the people that are coming in. And we have a hotline for Spanish speakers. I'm not sure if everyone knows about this, but it's really awesome. So extension 4, and it's used for a variety of things. We're going to use it for the school board caucus. We've been using it already for rides to the vaccine, but it's a great way for people to get in touch with us, and we just to expand our reach on reaching more people. And we are, looking to actively help out at the school board caucus in-person assistance voting at Café Sazón. And again, putting in another plug, if you speak Spanish, if you want to practice your Spanish, great opportunity, come sign up and join us for those events. Next slide, please. And this is our flyer that we've been using to promote these in-person assistance locations with all of the times, and it's bilingual, so in Spanish as well in English. So it's up here. If you have communities that you're a part of that you think would benefit from getting this, let us know. We're happy to send it your way. We're looking to heavily promote this in our community. Next slide, please. I will throw it to Daniel to give us the disabilities update.
Thank you, Vicki. Good evening, everyone. Wanted to join our colleagues from the Labor and Business Caucus to invite you to the debates that we are hosting on May 10th. I won't elaborate too much more on that since you've already gotten the basics, other than to just say that if folks have any questions on disability or disability related topics that you want to ask, please send them either to myself or to my co-chair, Michael Angelone. We also have been working with Jill, Maggie, and a lot of the leadership of the Arlington Democratic Committee on making the website and Arlington Dems communications more accessible for people with disabilities. We actually have someone who is who is currently reviewing the website for readability and accessibility issues. We also had a very lively meeting recently, which included a lot of discussion of important issues that the disability community in Arlington would like to prioritize, and that is actually memorialized on the Disabilities Caucus's Facebook page. With that, I will turn it back to Vicky and wish you a good evening.
Thanks, Daniel. There we go. All right, Equality Caucus, gonna throw this to Jonathan.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Vicky. We can go to the next slide. So I want to give a huge shout out first to Jill and Maggie. They've been super helpful in the development of this caucus. It's one of the newer ones, so I've really been reaching out to them for a lot of assistance and guidance in this, and huge shout out to Maggie for a quick turnaround on some tech requests that came in today. So our next meeting is going to be on Tuesday, May 18th at 7:30 p.m. So now we have a Zoom and everyone can register who wants to attend. Just put that in the chat as well. We're still a developing caucus, so leaders are welcome. We're really going to focus the next meeting on what our Pride event is going to be during the month of June. So we don't know exactly when, but please attend that meeting, give us your input. Would love to kind of go from there and develop something with other caucuses as well as to how we can put that event during June. So really looking forward to it. Feel free to reach out, and that's all I got. Thank you, Vicky.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, really looking forward to supporting. And I know we have Pride Month coming up, so excited to help and attend the event that you are looking to put on. Next slide, please. Interfaith, very exciting times. Fatima, are you on the line?
I am. Thanks,
Awesome.
Vicky.
Thanks.
And so I'll just start out by encouraging everyone to come to, we have weekly planning meetings. I'll talk about that again. On Tuesday nights, 7:30 to 9 p.m. Everyone is welcome. And we would love to have your energy, your talent, your ideas on how we can continue to develop this group. We've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I think we're doing something right. So continue to attract members. And first of all, I'd like to, we'll call your attention to my email address there, interfaithcaucus@arlingtondemocrats.org. Reach out to me if you'd like to join us. And also, please join, engage with our Arlington Dems Interfaith Advocacy Caucus Facebook group. That is really an integral part of how we get the word out about our events and engage people, not just Arlington-wide, but really worldwide. I mean, I've seen a couple of members on there from other parts of the world, so it's encouraging to see that there's that level of interest. Next slide, please. There it is. Okay, so the next event we have coming up is on May 16th from 7:30 to 9 p.m. And we would love to have you join. It's our interfaith conversation on building interfaith friendships, community unity, and it'll be featuring authors of a new book called We Refuse to Be Enemies. And it's essentially about building friendships between faith traditions and faith groups, finding those common values, finding those common points of intersection where, we can not only understand each other's traditions, but, really honor them and work within each of our traditions to do activities within the community that create a better quality of life for everyone. So I encourage you not to miss this one. I think it's going to be a very robust and interesting discussion. These are two people that have been working in the interfaith movement for quite some time, and I think it'll be something that you'll really enjoy. The RSVP link will be up on our Facebook page soon if it isn't already. And we also encourage you, if you want to buy the book, you certainly don't have to in advance, but it would be it would lead to a probably richer discussion. The authors will be talking about their book, you know, in a conversational way in the beginning and leaving a lot of time to engage with the audience. But if you decide to buy the book, we encourage you to buy it from One More Page, which is a local Arlington bookstore, and that that link will also be provided in the on the Facebook group page. Next page, please. Next slide, please. Okay, so our AFAC contribution donation drive continues to be successful. As usual, we encourage you to contribute to that. There's still a lot of, believe it or not, there's still a lot of hungry people in need in Arlington in particular, and in our country in general. So anything that you can contribute to that, I'm sure would be greatly appreciated. AFAC is a wonderful group. I don't need to tell anybody in this audience. I think many of you have already had the opportunity to work with them, and they're just amazing people. And just another reminder to save the date. We have our 4th annual Interfaith Eid celebration coming up. I know I've talked about it a bunch of times, but it really is our signature event. It's and it's a very festive one. For those of you that have come to it in previous years, you'll know what I'm talking about. And we'll be featuring the same faith leaders who will, you know, speak briefly about what it means to them in the context of current events. We'll have the traditional Eid feast, likely with a lamb dinner. Musicians, kids games, other stuff. And this time it's going to be outside in a park, although we have been told by you know, the president and vice president that it's very likely that enough people will be vaccinated by July 4th to allow larger activities. Nonetheless, we are going to be holding it in a venue that allows for proper social distancing. We will be asking people probably by then to wear masks. Now, this is late in July, so again, we're keeping our fingers crossed that nothing changes. Obviously, between now and July 25th, but obviously we will be following the governor's guidance and CDC guidance on how to proceed with this. So hopefully, we're keeping our fingers crossed, inshallah. We just hope that, you know, we are very hopeful. So keep it on your calendars and don't miss it. I think that's it. Thank you, Vicki.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Fatima. So next, going to our Millvets Caucus. Next slide, please. They are continuing the great work that they're doing, and they will be at AFAC this Saturday at May 8th. If you've got some food, if you want to participate, please come by. And if you're interested in joining the meetings, they'll be held on Saturday, May 22nd. And looking forward to seeing what else you guys bring to the table. Next slide, please. Thanks, everybody. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Susan Landfield, who's been working on the Virginia Grassroots Coalition. For those of you who don't know, it's a coalition which consists of about 50 progressive organizations that unite to advance a common agenda. And thank you, Susan, for all the work that you do.
Thanks to all of Outreach for all of that tremendous work. And thank you, Vicki and the team for presenting it. You know, this is there's just any number of ways to get involved with Arlington Democrats, and I'm just really proud of all the work that the caucuses are doing in just a variety of ways. So listen, if you were hoping that you'd hear about a caucus and didn't from that array of options, you too could start a caucus. All you got to do is reach out to me, reach out to Vicki. We will help you get set up. As you heard with respect to the Equality Caucus, you will get the support that you need to succeed. So if you've got an idea, we want to hear from you. So please reach out. As I mentioned, we'll post these slides, reach out to one of us, and we'd be happy to work with you to start another caucus. So appreciate all the hard work from outreach. We're going to keep moving right along to our Beyond Arlington update and see if our chair of Beyond Arlington, Rose Fabia, is with us. Rose, are you out there?
I'm here.
All right, take it away.
Okay. So I just want to say we are now expanding our volunteer opportunities. At first we're just doing Paul Steiker, and now we're going deeper into the races. First of all, I want to say the races we're concentrating on are the ones where 3 of the candidates or delegates were the ones in the Northern Virginia had the tightest races in 2019. Wendy Goditis, Dan Helmer, and Josh Cole all came in at 1.1% to win their races. That's like 1,000 votes. And so we need to concentrate on those races so we don't lose those seats and keep those fantastic delegates to represent their district. So for phone banking, we are now doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. And on Tuesdays, we're headed over to the Goditis campaign in support of their phone banking from 6 to 8 p.m. I did it last Tuesday, and I'm amazed how many people still don't know who Wendy Goditis is, even though she's running for her 3rd term. I was actually on the phone with somebody, and they were in a hurry, and they said, "Who's running?" And I said, "Wendy Goditis for re-election." She goes, "What's her party affiliation?" Let's cut to the chase. That's what she said to me. I said, "She's a Democrat." She goes, "Okay, that's all I need to know. I'm voting straight Democrat." I go, "Well, thank you so much." But that just tells you so much that we still need to get the name out, even for those people who have been incumbents going on their 3rd term. And on Thursdays, we will continue to support the candidate Paul Steiker, who's running against that radical right, Dave LaRock. And it's from 6 to 8 p.m. We'll be doing this through May, except for the last week of May, because I'll be out of town. But Paul Steiker, we are continuing to get the name out to him. We're building momentum, and I'm very hopeful that he's going to exceed everyone's expectations against someone who has been a 3 or 4 term delegate, Dave LaRock, who has never, ever, even under a Republican majority, passed any type of law that's on behalf of his district, and who has attended the January 6th rally. And one more thing about Dave LaRock, don't get me started. One more thing about Dave LaRock is when the NAACP called for his resignation, LaRock talked about NAACP and referred to them as the Black community as the colored community. So he's not shy at all about showing you who he is. And we need to vote him out and put in a community leader like Paul Steiker. Now for canvassing, we have Dan Helmer doing his kickoff this Saturday at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And he's doing this with the Democratic Asian Americans of Virginia. And Mark Keene, who's a delegate for Fairfax, will be speaking at this rally. So it'll be in Centerville. Everything I'm telling you about, I'll put in the chat. And it's also in Beyond Arlington's Facebook. But this is his kickoff. He's running most likely against a Korean American under the Republican Party, who's also a veteran. But we want to show that Dan Helmer is our veteran and that we support him and that he's running for re-election. Lastly is Delegate Josh Cole. He's another one that had a tight race. All of them won the races with less than 1.1%. And so we need to show our support for Josh Cole. His first canvassing is Saturday, May 22nd from 3 to 5 in Fredericksburg. So like Blue Families, Beyond Arlington will be there. And that's it. And it's a full plate, but we're going to be all out for all the way up to November. And I'm enthusiastic about this as usual.
Love it, Rose. We talk sometimes in our blast emails about the fact that the resistance never rests. And someone emailed me back to say, what does that look like in the post-Trump era? Folks, if you're not inspired by anything else that you hear tonight, and certainly there is plenty to be inspired by, be inspired by the urgency of the work that's being done by Beyond Arlington. We can take nothing for granted
No.
anywhere, including in Arlington, but especially in these swing districts. We have a majority in the Virginia General Assembly, but it is not a huge majority. And if we do not turn out voters in these swing districts, we could lose that majority. And I, for one, will not let that happen. And I am so thankful to Rose and all of the Beyond Arlington volunteers who are working even now, this early in the season, to help to ensure that those tremendous delegates that Rose mentioned, who have been at many of our events, who are great favorites of the committee, that they are reelected to the General Assembly so that they can do the good work that they've been doing on behalf of their constituents and the whole state. So folks, please, the resistance never rests in these swing districts, especially if you've got some time. Rose has got phone calls that you can help make. She's got canvassing. She's got walk routes that you could walk in these different districts. It's a fun time. Take your kids and head on out with Blue families. They'll be glad to have you as well. But the resistance truly does never rest in swing districts like these. We need your help here. So hope to see you at a Beyond Arlington event, in addition to all the great events that we've got going on right here in Arlington. Thanks so much, Rose, as the Beyond Arlington team. I want to keep us moving along in our agenda to our most important partner in the county, the Arlington Young Democrats. And is it Mike giving the update tonight?
No, it's me. I'm
It's
sorry.
our president, AYD President Matt Royer.
Thank you so much. I am stepping in for Mr. Mike Heminger tonight. We had a lot of great stuff in April that I'm glad to talk to you about. So next slide, please. We had our VAYD convention. We had a lot of representation elected to the Virginia Young Dems Executive Board. Mike Heminger, who can't be on with us tonight, was reelected to be the Virginia Young Dems National Committee Rep to the Young Democrats of America. And then Sam Bowman was reelected to be our membership director. We also had a lot of people who were elected to the caucuses. We had Michael Angeloni was elected to the Disabilities Caucus as the chair. We had Sasha Branach was elected as the vice chair of the Faith Caucus. Adam Shakeoff was elected as reelected, I should say, as the Labor Caucus chair. And then we had a new member who had just joined literally that weekend, Noah Mutterpearl, who was elected as the vice chair of the Health Caucus. So, very, all you got to do is show up and get involved. So very, very excited to have new people on. And then myself, I was elected as the chair of the Northern Region Caucus, which will be representing Arlington, Alexandria Falls Church, Fairfax, Prince William, Culpeper, Fauquier, and Loudoun counties. So very excited to get to work helping out the entire region of Young Dems so that we can continue to deliver Northern Virginia for our Democratic nominees come this fall. Next slide, please. We had a great Earth Day trivia night, which was put on by our Housing, Environment, and Infrastructure Caucus. We had a great time. The winning team was able to contribute $25 to the charity of their choice. I hear that they're still deliberating what that will be, but we're very excited to hear what it is. So we'll give you more updates once that happens. Next slide, please. We had a Green New Deal forum as well. So we had Lee Williams from the Sierra Club, who is the Green New Deal Coalition co-director. We also had Joshua Cole on, who we've already talked about a bunch tonight, but he was there to talk to us about his bill on the fossil fuel moratorium, as well as talking about the intersection between environmental justice and racial justice, social justice, and economic justice. For people who don't know, he had also carried the bill to ban Dominion Energy and other public service corporations from giving to campaigns. And we are still working on that. Now it was Delegate Ibrahim Sumaira who was carrying that bill this year. So there's a lot of different levels to the environmental issues that we've been talking about, and it takes a lot of work. And we were just talking about the whole encompassing agenda that the Green New Deal actually is here in Virginia. Next slide. Yes, so we participated in the PROACT rally that was on May Day. For those who don't know what May Day is, it's the International Workers' Day, which was very fitting as we are still trying to convince our Senator Mark Warner to sign on to the PROACT. That for those of you who haven't been following at home, we have been outside of Senator Warner's house for 7 weeks running now. Rain or shine, we were out there. We were featured in the Washington Post today about it. So if you have a chance, please go check it out if you're wondering what it is that we're doing out there. And then, so just to keep talking about the PROACT, right now we are still waiting on 3 Democrats in the Senate to sign on and support the PROACT. Our Senator, Mark Warner, as well as Arizona Senators Kyrsten Sinema and Mark Kelly. I am wearing my Save Arizona t-shirt tonight, just in solidarity with our neighbors out in the Southwest. But we are working towards, convincing our Democratic senators to sign on to this bill. It is very crucial, very, very important for working people everywhere to be able to organize, to make sure that they have a seat at the table, make sure that they're getting the pay, benefits, protections, and everything that they deserve to have. So if you need any more information, I would be happy to connect you with the right resources there. Next slide, please. Yes, so here's just some upcoming things to expect in May from us. Next slide. We have an Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month social hour. We will be hearing from a few people that night. We're the bulk of our programming that night will be probably some sort of Jeopardy game, trivia game, something like that to just educate some folks on the AAPI community here in America. We also are, we're going to be hearing from our former AYD president, former VAYD executive committee member, and current Democratic Asian Americans of Virginia chair, Praveen Mayan, where he'll be able to give us some words about AAPI Heritage Month. We will also be hearing from one of the organizers from the ACE Collaborative, which is the Asian Civic Engagement Collaborative that works with New Virginia Majority. They right now are organizing around the housing issue here in Arlington County. For those folks who don't know, there is a large percentage of Asian American and AAPI immigrants that live in Arlington County that are currently facing being pushed out due to rising rents and lack of work. These people live in Ballston, they live in South Arlington, Crystal City, Pentagon City, anywhere around those areas. There's a large population of people who are being forced out of their homes, and we are going to hear from Mitch Chan probably, if I'm remembering correctly, unless it's somebody else, and they will be able to tell us a little bit more about what's going on with them. Next slide. We are also having a Mother's Day edition, Arlington County School Board primary debates. We will be hearing from our local elections here in Arlington for those 2 seats. All 4 candidates have said that they will join us that night. We will be asking questions that are being crowdsourced from our members. So, if you want to hear a little bit more from the younger population here in Arlington about some of these issues, we will be asking those questions there. It will be live streamed to Facebook. So if you miss it because you're spending time with your family, totally understand. We're trying to, make sure that we're getting everything as accessible as possible, even if people can't make it. But you will be able to watch that later on. Next slide. And we are also looking forward to in June, Juneteenth. We are looking to partner with the DC Young Dems to have a Juneteenth event. This is something that we started a few years ago, and we have continued to do so every year since, celebrating this often overlooked holiday, but was just pronounced as a state holiday last year. So we're very excited to continue on that tradition, talking about the enactment, the final enactment in Texas of the Emancipation Proclamation. So we will be updating more on what type of programming we will have at that time. Next slide. And finally, June is Pride Month, and we are looking to do some more programming around to raise the voices of our LGBTQ+ community. You know, this is a very important month for allies and our friends in that community, so that we're making sure that their issues are also being heard. Right now, obviously, as we've seen across the country, there has been a lot of anti-trans legislation that is being passed through state legislatures that are in Republican control. We are looking to push back against that. We're looking to say, you know, doesn't matter, you know, who you are, what you look like, who you love. You know, you are a person. We are here. We accept you. We see you, and we will continue on and keep celebrating you that way. That is all I have for right now. We are in the process of also scheduling a debate with the candidates for the 45th and the 49th House districts to happen later on this month. We are still looking to get that all connected and make sure that we're linking those up on the right days so we get all 4 candidates there as well. So please stay tuned for that. And thank you as always to the Arlington Dems for allowing us to speak. And thank you as always, Jill, for having us on here. So I will turn it back to you.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it, Matt. And of course, we're always delighted to have you, and it's always exciting to see the various activities that you've got going on. I always think of it as a great compliment to what the main party is doing in the county, and just thank you so much. All right, folks, we are rocketing through this agenda. I am so impressed. For those of you who make fun of me for these long meetings, and I know who you are, we are doing it today. So I want to keep us moving to our school board update, not to be confused with our school board caucus update, which I know y'all will be voting later this month, but we are always very pleased to have a local official update us on what's happening in on either the county board or the school board. This month, we are delighted to be joined by the chair of our school board, Monique O'Grady, who's going to let us know what is happening in our schools. Monique?
Thank you so much, Jill. I'm so happy to be here. And I just want to start off by thanking everyone here. This will be my last opportunity to give you an update as the school board chair. The next update is going to be in July. And at that point, you'll hear from the next chair. But I want to thank you so much for the ability to be able to give you an update over the last 6 opportunities. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure you will show the same graciousness you've shown to me to the next chair. Let's go to the next slide, please. I just want to share with you where we are regarding our in-person and distance learning for our students. We now have all of our students in place who have been interested and originally asked to be placed in hybrid learning. We started by bringing back our students with disabilities who needed some in-person learning support back in November, and have continued to roll in our students. And in March, we were able to phase in the last students who had originally shared that they were interested in hybrid learning. Let's go to the next slide. We are in the process of offering more hybrid learning spaces to our students who are interested in moving from distance learning to hybrid learning. That would be 2 days a week in person. And since April, we have been able to add 1,000 more students to the hybrid roles. We have, starting this week, offered in-person instruction for all of our pre-K students. That would be 4 days a week. So we have included more days in person for those pre-K students. And we are continuing to offer distance learning for families who are comfortable with the full distance learning option. Let's go to the next slide. Want to share with you some exciting news. APS is the first Virginia district to actually offer free APS COVID testing sites at our schools. We are currently offering those walk-up testing sites for our students and staff at Glebe Elementary, Kenmore Middle School, and Wakefield High Schools. Those sites are open outside of school hours on weekdays. It's from 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. And at Kenmore, we are offering it on Saturdays as well from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And families who are interested in taking advantage of that and staff, they are welcome to do so. Our students need to have parental consent, and that testing is being offered for students who have and staff who have been exposed to COVID or who have COVID-like symptoms. Next slide. We are also wanting to share with you where we are with COVID vaccines on behalf of our county partners. The county is currently offering walk-in vaccine clinics to individuals ages 16 and up this week. That is great news for our older students and their families. No appointments are necessary. There is no Arlington residency requirement. In fact, people from any area and jurisdiction are welcome to participate. The walk-ins will continue through this Friday, May the 7th. And in addition to that, you can do that at Walter Reed Community Center or at the Crystal City Drive location. And we have a new appointment neighborhood vaccine clinic offered at Kenmore Middle School, and that will be offered Thursday, May the 6th. That's tomorrow from 4 to 8 p.m. Next slide, please. Want to also share with you what's going to be happening in the fall. We will be offering 2 learning models available to our families. The first is for our pre-K through 12 families, and that will be for in-person learning 5 days a week. That will look very similar to what we were doing pre-COVID, regular normal bell schedules, regular bus capacity, no temperature checks, etc. And the other option is for a new full K-12 distance learning program. And this is actually going to be a separate program that we are going to be offering that will have its own administration and teachers as well. Students will remain connected to their regular schools via their counselors and extracurricular sports activities. But those are the 2 options we will be offering to families for this fall. Next slide, please. As usual, we share with you our school board action plan and where we are moving forward in the goals that we have set for this year. Let's move forward and we'll go over a few of those. Next slide. First, I'd like to share with you that we are getting very close to finalizing our FY 2022 budget. In fact, that's scheduled for tomorrow's meeting. Some of the things that are impacting our budget, of course, include enrollment and making sure that we can meet the increasing needs from our English language learners and our students with disabilities. We're also focusing on instructional and mental health supports. We have added some real intentionality around our diversity, equity, inclusion office, actually building out that office to better meet the needs of our students. We will be offering some new buildings this year, and that needed to be funded. And we are handling some school moves, which does mean that we are going to have some additional costs. We're also looking at safety and security and trying to ensure that we can continue to make sure that there's not a digital divide for our students. We did work very hard this year to make sure that our students could be connected via the internet, and we want to make a financial commitment to ensure that we don't lose the gains that have been lost. Let's go to the next slide. Here's a little information about our budget. Our superintendent proposed a budget of $685 million. And I should say that the superintendent proposed a budget of $706 million. The school board took a look at that budget, scrubbed it, and unfortunately had to find some cuts. And the school board found about $6.8 million in cuts. The superintendent's proposed budget was actually built on a needs-based budget with the idea of equity and excellence, educational excellence in mind. So at this point, the school board's proposed budget is $700 million. Unfortunately, that still means that we're looking at a shortfall of about $15 million. Let's go to the next slide. We did go to our friends at the county board to see if they could help support us in some of our one-time expenditures, and they said yes. And so we're very appreciative to the county board for giving us some additional support. And some of those one-time school payments include us offering incentives to our staff to actually teach in-person summer school, because we were finding that it was very difficult for us to hire in-person teaching for this summer. That is something that people across the country are facing. So that is not an Arlington anomaly. In addition to that, we're going to be opening a new elementary school that you may know as the former Reed site. It's now known as the Cardinal Elementary School site. We are also going to be opening the Education Center to offer additional spaces for our high school students, and the county board is going to help us with that. And then lastly, as we mentioned earlier, the distance learning program that we are launching this fall does have some one-time costs that needed to be covered. So we want to thank the county board for their support. Let's go to the next slide. This just goes through our 2022 budget calendar. And as I mentioned already, we will be voting on the budget tomorrow. Next slide, please. Some additional items that were included in our school board action plan, and I've been sharing this with you previously, is the movement of our instructional programs and pathways document. And that really is our visioning document to take a look at what we want to make sure that we're offering students to ensure that we are offering one of our goals, multiple pathways to student success. The superintendent will provide an update on that this month. Next slide. As we mentioned, we have been going through some naming and renaming processes. As I already shared with you, Cardinal Elementary is the new name for the Reed School. We also have Innovation Elementary, which is going to be the name of the new neighborhood school at the Key site. And the Key Immersion Program is considering a new name for its school, which will now be located at the current ATS site. Next slide. One of the things we're getting ready to embark upon is our capital improvement plan. And that, of course, is our plan for using our resources to ensure that we have all of the infrastructure needs in place for our students. And just to give you a little bit of background, back in June of 2020, because of the uncertainty and budgetary pressures caused by the pandemic, we worked with the county board and decided that we were going to, instead of passing, which we usually do, a 10-year CIP, we decided to do a very condensed 1-year CIP. This year, we're looking at doing a little bit bigger CIP, a 3 or 4-year CIP. And in that CIP, we're going to be considering ways to address our enrollment, enhancing the Career Center to make sure it has the facility enhancements needed for the students who currently attend school there, looking at some final issues at the Heights building, and also trying to pay attention to our air quality, our security, our kitchens. And those are the ideas that we will be looking at as we move forward in our capital improvement plan process. Let's go to the next slide. You'll see our timeline here. We will hear from the superintendent, his proposed CIP tomorrow, and we plan to have this CIP adopted by June the 25th. Next slide. In order to stay up to date with all the things I shared with you, we ask you to please sign up for our newsletters. Feel free to sign up for our virtual open office hours, where we give families and not just families, but any Arlingtonian 2 minutes to speak to us about an issue that may concern you. Also, you can speak at a school board meeting. You can go to our Engage page and email us. You can follow us on Twitter. I hope you've already done that. And you can email us as well, or leave a message at our offices. Thank you again for the opportunity. We really appreciate you giving us the ability to be able to share with you all of our work in the school board. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Monique. I can't believe that it's been a year since you came, almost a year since you came on as chair. Thank you so much for your service to the community. It's a tough, tough job. You do it with grace, and we've always just been so proud to have you as the chair of our school board. Glad that you'll be there for a few more months as a member, and just really appreciate the work that you and the school board members are doing. in this difficult time, along with all of our teachers. So greatly appreciate it. And folks, that actually, if you would believe it, brings us to the end of our meeting. I'm as surprised as anyone, but we managed to get it done in an hour and a half. Unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to be joined by Senator McClellan tonight, but we'll see if we can find another opportunity to give her 3 minutes and so we can hear from her. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I hope that you will get engaged and involved in the many activities and volunteer opportunities that you heard tonight. We always need new members to do these important tasks that help to really make sure that folks are voting or able to vote and that they're voting for Democrats. The resistance never rests because we can take nothing for granted, because there is much work to be done in our communities to deliver democratic values and to advance democratic policy priorities. I hope that you will join us. I will be putting these slides on our website, arlingtondemocrats.org, and we'll be posting information about our events and activities on our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. So please do get involved. Thanks again for coming out tonight, and I hope that everyone has a great evening.
And to people in the chat that just asked about words from Senator McClellan, we'll work out something with the staff to see if we can share some information.
Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
Yep.